Hi, I'm Andy Kaufman, host of the People and Projects podcast. Hey, can you think of somebody who just drives you crazy? I bet you didn't have to think too long. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe it's someone on your project team, or a colleague, or a stakeholder on another side of the business, or a client. Maybe it's someone on social media. Hopefully it's not a spouse. But do you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who drives you crazy. It's the person in the project meeting that as soon as you say this, they shoot down the idea. When you say this on social media, they find the problem, not some sort of source of agreement. You know what? Our lives are often filled with people like this. I was talking to a colleague recently, and he goes, why don't you just unfriend this person as a social media scenario? And I told him why. And here's the short story, is the people that drive us crazy, almost always we can learn something from them. And so in some cases, it might be because it's so toxic that you just need to put that sort of separation. But I try, whether it's on social media or not, to not unfriend them. Because let's face it, in the workplace, you usually can't unfriend somebody, except for leaving the company. So here's some hacks that I'd like to share with you. The first one is try to think of this other person, the person who's driving you crazy, as reasonable, rational, and decent. And I say that because if you've read any of the Crucial Conversations books, you're familiar with that terminology. Most people are reasonable, rational, and decent. I know it doesn't feel that way, and you might have evidence to the contrary, but force yourself to think of them as reasonable, rational, and decent. Okay? So here's a way I do that. It's my second point, and that is I try to find something that I can agree with. That doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say in that email or everything they say in that rebuttal in the meeting or that social media post, but can you find some point of agreement? Some point of agreement. If they have 10 points, can you find one point that you agree with? A half a point. Try to find something. It kind of keeps you in the game. Because what happens is we usually write the people off. We get too easily offended, like we talked about before, and then we don't have the opportunity to get the value of the lesson from it. Third thing is just ask yourself, all right, that kind of ticked me off. Does it need to be said? You know, there's times I'll just overlook it. If it's a social media post that I just don't think it's worth the time, I just won't respond. I just won't engage. If it's an email, maybe I'll engage, but I'm going to take the weekend. You know, it's the old Abraham Lincoln thing. Write the letter to the general, put it in the drawer and don't send it. It's the write the email, save the draft, maybe send it on Monday morning. That might be the thing. But I learned from Tony Schwartz that it takes about 90 seconds for the limbic system to flush. And so in that first 90 seconds, man, I'm telling you, take a deep breath. Does it need to be said? And the fourth thing is, does it need to be said now? Maybe it does need to be said, but does it need to be said now? I'm telling you, if you do those things, whether it's your boss, whether it's someone on your team or a colleague or a client or a customer or somebody outside of work, I'm telling you, take the breath. Think of them as reasonable, rational, and decent. Try to find something that you agree with. And understand my point there. You don't have to go, don't go and say you agree with something that you don't. But try to find some bridge of similarity. Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? And finally, almost everything is done on relationships. Work to build a relationship with that person. I know a CEO who said it this way. He goes, it's hard to hate me in person. What he means is he gets a lot of hate mail, but he goes, when people meet with me directly, usually it's a pretty good conversation. So almost everything's done on relationship. It's the dirty little secret of business. Give those things a try this week. And how about this? Leave a comment. What do you do? How do you deal with the people that you just want to write off? You want to unfriend them. In fact, what do you think about this idea of not unfriending, even on social media? I know there's scenarios, but what do you do to try to keep yourself in the game with these people? Looking forward to hearing your advice. And by the way, if you think this episode was about you, it's not. But I couldn't help but play the song at the end. Have a good one. You're so bad.